Hello Internet, my name is Ace and today we're going to be talking about placing people and objects in perspective and having them feel like they're a part of the environment, how to keep them a consistent size no matter where you're placing them within the within the scene. So let's start with a piece of paper. Okay, so this is our piece of paper. Lovely. Right, so we need a horizon line on this piece of paper. So let me just shift this paper over this way just a little and turn my brush size down. Right, so we have, let's just place the horizon line somewhere like that. Okay, in fact, let's make sure it's really straight. Where should we place it? Let's place it around here. Okay, so if we're placing people in perspective, then we're going to be using this point here, this horizon line is also generally, if we're talking about 1 point and 2 point perspective, which we are in this video. I will do a further video on 3 point perspective on placing objects and making them feel like they're a part of that world as well, because things are slightly different there. But if we're talking about 1 point and 2 point perspective, then this is generally the eye line. Okay, so this is the height at which the viewer is. So let's draw a guy in here. Okay, so we're just going to stick with stickmen, but this can work with any proportions or any, in fact, let me stick that on a different layer. Any proportions and any kind of style, whether you're staying super cartoony or what. So we've got our little dude here, just a very quick scribbly dude. Okay, and as you can see, his eyes are on this eye line, his pupils are on this eye line. So he is the same height as us, the viewer. So if we, let's just draw a crude little body on him. Like this. So he's kind of like waving at you like this. So this is a guy who is at our height because his eye line is the same as ours. If this same dude was moved down, because this is our eye line up here, generally speaking, we're going to be using this as our eye line. So let me draw some eyes here. So this is the eye line. Like I say, for the purposes that we're doing, this is going to be the eye line. So he is obviously shorter than us because our eye line is here. Now, what about if we bring him back up to the same height as us? Okay, so same height guy, but he's obviously further back than us because you can see his feet, you can see his full figure. So not that he's got a full figure, he's very lean guy. And so you can see, like I say, his full figure. So he must be further back than we are, because if we are looking into this world, our eyes are like here, kind of looking in. But he's the same height as us. Now, if we want to take this guy and give him a friend, let's move him across. Oops, let's not make him smaller just yet. Let's move him across. So these are two twins. I mean, they've even got the same diet. Everything about them is the same. These are obviously the same height. So if we were to shorten this guy a little bit, there we go, and still have him placed with his feet on the same place, like this. This guy, number 1, is shorter than number 2. Okay, we can all accept that. So how about if we took guy number 1 and we put his eye line on the horizon line? This person now, number 1, is the same height as number 2. He's just further back in space. Now, this is an important thing to know, because wherever the horizon line is cutting the person is their height. Now, us, the viewer, could be on the floor, and these guys could be taller. So let's just move them. So if these guys, they're going off the page slightly, but if at their crotch they are touching the horizon line, then our eye line is at their crotch. Nice. Because these are the same height, because they're intersecting at the same point. Again, he's slightly further back than he is, but they are the same height, because where the horizon line crosses, that is the same on both people. So we can do this at any size with any kind of person. So let's go back to having them at the same eye line as us. And this dude comes here. Now, what if we make this guy really big, actually? Like this. But still keep his eyes on the horizon line. I'm not sure why this keeps doing that. There we go. Again, these are the same height. This guy just looks further back in space than his twin brother. So back to twins now, so the same height. Now, what if, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, they will put someone further back in space. Let's say this guy, let's make him shorter. And like that. They will go further back in space, but the rules that apply, this guy here is huge, because the eye line of this dude is that this guy's like navel. So this means that this guy is like, I don't know, 30 feet high. This is like a really tall dude. Now, this breaks illustrations all the time, and it just looks weird. So let's just move him down so his eye line is touching at the same point. And now these guys are the same height. They're just further, well, one of them is just further back in space than the other one. So I hope this makes sense. Now we can do the same with objects. So if we're gonna assume that the composition is working where let's think. So the eye line is me, an average sized male, standing. Okay, so we can kind of take that as a reference point. So a door comes up to, let's just create a new layer actually. So a door on an average male comes right now, maybe that height, something like that. This kind of door frame. So if we are drawing, I don't know, buildings or shops, let's just do something in one point really quickly. So we have, let's just grab a ruler just to make this a lot quicker. So we have a road coming like this. So a new layer. And so he's actually intersecting, but it doesn't matter. And let's say that a door is probably going to be, say, this height, slightly taller than the guy, like this. So we know if we've got a building that, in fact, we won't even need that one. If we've got a building, and let's just do it freehand. So we've got a wall here. Ignore this. Okay, this was just our reference. Then we've got a door that's like this size. Okay, actually that's a little bit too wide. So the height of this door works because of that. Now, if we remove the guy from this, the one that was using as a reference point, this scene still works, because with this dude here, his eye line is still on the horizon line, and this door, because if we make him smaller like that, then his eye line is still there, and the door still fits. So if you're creating a building or a car or anything like that, if you're measuring by basically where the eye line is and kind of judging it from there, you should be able to do it at any point in space. So let's draw back in these lines, and if we had a door really far off in the distance, just by itself with no building, then the door would be this height. Now, I am going to do a further video on measuring things and how to make it so the width of this door here is exactly the same width as that door there. I'm going to do a further video on that in the perspective series. If you want to keep up on the perspective videos, by the way, there is a playlist with all the perspective videos talking about the Connell vision, 1, 2, 3 point perspective, placing people and objects like we're watching now. Loads of other things are going to be in there, and the link to that playlist is in the description below. So if you want to keep up with them, make sure to subscribe and you will get those. So this is how we measure things and keep them consistent throughout the scene. So what if we have, for example, an object. Let me just hide this guy. If we have, let's say, something like this. Okay, so again, we're just working in 1 point perspective, like that. So we've got this kind of thing here, like that. So we've got a platform of sorts. Now, it's not super important what this thing is. It's just, it's going to be a platform. So let's do that. Let's grab that ruler again and place this in here. Right, so we have a platform. Now, I should have probably made this platform a little bit bigger. So let's just say the platform's this wide. We're getting a bit of distortion here with the angles because we're going outside the cone of vision, which is something I talk about in another video. But say if we've got something raised up and we want this guy here to be the same height as this guy here. Right, so how would we do that? How would we make sure that at this point on here, he's going to be the correct height, but obviously his eye line is not going to be on the horizon line because he's going to be taller. So let's just do it with this guy that we already have. So what we'll do is we will make him smaller, like this. Put him on the horizon line. His eye line on the horizon line. So this is the correct height for him. Actually, he needs to be further back, obviously, because he's not going to be actually on that platform. There we go. It'd be on that platform there. So what we need to do is we've measured how tall he is at this point here, where he's actually going to be on the platform. So he's going to be stood on it somewhere around there. In fact, we'll push him back even further, just to really amplify the fact that this can be done at pretty much, well, definitely any size. So let's raise him up. So if you look, he's kind of going to be on this part here, more in the center of this box. So what we need to do is we've got his size, and then we just pick him up and move him across and onto his box. And that's the right size. So this guy here, this main guy, number 1, and number 2, they're the same size, but they're on different platforms. Now, you can see that I just randomly kind of place that. But if you want to do that very precise, then get your ruler or freehand, which I always recommend to freehand. Draw across from his foot line, I guess would be the right thing. Then draw up from where that connects to this platform. Draw up like this, and then draw across. I should have just done this freehand. It would have been quicker, but it would have been less accurate. There we go. So this, actually, it needs to be slightly higher. Yeah, that's about right. So that is where his feet want to be placed. So now we just pick up this guy. We shouldn't name the guy. I feel bad for him. And place him, his feet on that line there. Okay, now we have this guy being the same height as this guy, but on a platform. Now, if there's anything you didn't understand, leave a comment below and I'll try and address that. But it's just important to kind of keep consistency throughout your piece and your composition to really just make it so everything feels right. Because when something's off, like before, when if I'd have just dragged this small dude, where is he? This guy. If I'd have just dragged him across there and placed him there, and him not be on a platform, he's either jumping really high, or he's just a giant, because this guy's eye line comes up to just above his knees. So this guy's really big. So if we put him back where he was, that all works. So this has been how to place people and objects in perspective. Again, you can render realistic human beings. You can do it with cartoons. You can do it with anything. You can do it with flower pots or banana trees. Do bananas grow on trees? I assume so. So there we go. That's how you place people and objects in perspective. Now, if you enjoyed this video, tickle my down belows. Click the subscribe button down there and click the like button as well. And again, the link is in the description for the playlist with all the perspective videos on. And until next time, I'll see you later. So take care. Bye-bye.